Hello guys, this is Srini. Welcome back to my channel. This is the second video on EKS. If you haven't seen my first video on EKS, I definitely recommend you that. Check that first. In that video, I talked about how to, what are the things you need to do before you start working with the EKS. You need to set up a CLI tools like AWS CLI, EKS CLI, kubectl or kubectl, those kind of things. Even though that was primarily for Windows users, I also talked about uh, some details on setting up on Linux and Mac, etc. But in all honesty, though, if you are actually on Windows, the best thing to do for you is actually having a WSL on your Windows subsystem for Linux. It makes things much easier for you. So I highly recommend you go this route, setting it up. In fact, I set it up mine yesterday, and I installed Ubuntu on it. So that's the first thing. So to go with the EKS, you can go to Amazon EKS, and you can read through stuff, how it works and things like that. Uh, uh, in here, you can see actually you can create a cluster from here, but it's not a smooth process yet. For that reason, we'll be doing a little bit differently from creating a cluster from a command line. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is, in order for us to create a cluster or work with EKS, we need to create a user with the proper set of permissions. As a user, you can run the different things. I'll also talk about other options like creating a group and a role, etc. So first, for the purpose of this video, I'm gonna keep things simple. So I'm gonna go to IAM and then click on new users. I already created one user called EKS test user, but you can click on add user here. Type in EKS test user or whatever user you want, and this user requires a programmatic access, and then click next, and then you select this one which has administrator access, so this user can create clusters, EC2s, and etc. But this is only for the purpose of this tutorial. But in real life, you don't want to do this. In real life, you actually want to give this user very minimum set of permissions that are required to run the cluster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a link to actually required permissions for this user. It's from EKS CTL website. It's called minimum IAM policies. You can go through these policies and you can create a user or a group, whatever, and attach those things to the user or group. There is other option also you can do is you can also go create a role right here. You can create a role, click on create a role, click on EKS. So there, and then you select EKS, and then next and next and stuff. But as I said, for this video, we're going to keep it very simple. We're just going to create a user. I just showed you, give the user like administrator access for this tutorial. But if it's a real system, a production system, you don't want to do this. Okay. All right. So now we have the user. You are already aware of a minimum set of policies and permissions and stuff, etc. One thing that you want to do is when you create this user, you want to get, in order for you to log into AWS, go here and go to security credentials. And if you create it for the first time, you should have it access ID and secret access ID, secret key. It gives you like a download to CSV. You download that. Once you download it, it will have that information, for the access ID and the secret access ID. If you already have a user and you misplaced your access ID and secret key information, you can create access key here. Again, it will give you new access key and secret key which you can use. So once you have the user setup done, um, next thing is hopefully you have all the CLI tools set up as I explained in my previous video. I'm going to link it in the description if you haven't. So then you go to your terminal, you type in AWS configure AWS configure, and then you put the access key that you just got from here, which is in my case, this is the access key. And then it will ask you for the secret access key, and then you put the secret access key, which you download from here from CSV. I already have the secret access key, which I do not want to share, neither do you. So I'll be logged in as a into AWS, and then it will ask you for the region. I want to create a US East 2 region. So I've already configured all the stuff here. If you haven't, you have to do the same thing. So at this point, you're already set. You're already logged into AWS console. The only thing left for you to do is create a cluster. So I'm going to link this documentation here on available commands for EKS. Create cluster, delete cluster, describe node group, and get the cluster information, list number of clusters. All these commands are here. I'm going to link that as well in the description for you below. So now I have now I'm logged in. I clicked in. I typed in AWS configure, put in my login information. I'm already in AWS now, connected to AWS. I can create a cluster now. So as you saw before here, let's go to EKS here. I have no clusters. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a cluster from here. Got to run EKS create cluster. It's going to create a cluster with 3 nodes. So what this does is it creates multiple things, right? It's going to create VPC. It's going to create subnets. It's going to create EC2, and the unrated uses CloudFormation, so you can actually go into your console and you can check what are the things that are being created here. This is roughly going to take 15 minutes, so I'm going to pause the video, and when we come back, I'll walk you through the things that are created. Alright guys, it took about 15 minutes, maybe a little bit more, to create the cluster. So as I was saying before, it creates a cluster. When it creates a EKS cluster, it creates many different things. We can have a look at it. If you go to your AWS, you can actually go to your EC2. You can see the worker nodes that are running. There are 3 because that's what we specified here. 3 nodes. So they all have 3 in each cluster. These were terminated from before. And then you can go to EKS, and you can actually see the cluster that got created. And also you can look at the subnets and VPCs, etc. So it creates multiple artifacts. And under the hood, it uses CloudFormation, so you can take a look at different things that that got created, what it's doing, those kind of things. So that's pretty much it for creating a cluster. It's very straightforward. One thing to keep in mind though is for the purpose of this video, I used admin access for the user. If it's real life, you don't want to do that. I'm going to attach links that you need to go through. I'm going to attach in description links to the few of the commands and WSL as well. So before we forget, so this has you had to pay for this, I think 10 cents an hour or so. So for that reason, it created a lot of stuff. I just want to make sure I don't want to leave it on because you're going to incur a lot of cost for this. I'm going to delete my cluster. So it will take 4 or 5 minutes. And then it's going to delete all the stuff it created. That's it. That's it for this video. As I said, please check the video before. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Bye.